edition of the Bullheaded Podcast. I'm your host, per usual, Sean Tyson, and I am here with my guys, Zoo and P-Bush. How you guys doing?
Doing well, man. Great weekend of football. Absolute rebound of a weekend from that horrible wild card weekend that we had watched 2 weeks ago. So,
Yes.
Man, absolutely exciting. Devastating for some. Maybe 1 out of 3 on this podcast might be rather devastated. I'll let his face say it. But no, other than that, Bulls sliding a little bit, but they're holding on by a thread. Let's just hope they can keep it going.
Man, that was the saddest game of football I've ever seen in my entire life. The Green Bay Packers, a team that was favorited to destroy them, 5.5-point spread. Supposed to be an easy W, even though I was scared. I was worrying 49ers. Yeah. I was scared of that team, man. I was scared of them against that. I was like, do you know what I wanted? The Dallas Cowboys. That's what I wanted. The Dallas Cowboys. But when the 49ers there, I was like, ooh, this is a little tough. It was a little tough. But, man, 10 points. 10 points. That's all I got to say. Aaron Rodgers scored 10 points. That was the worst game I've ever seen in my entire life of football history. It hurt so much. That night was a sad, sad night, man. I didn't get much sleep that night, man. I just went straight to bed. I was just sitting there in disbelief for a couple hours. The next day, I woke up, felt sad, so I didn't leave my room for the next 7 hours until the next game of football started. But my God, that game was so depressing.
Zoop, welcome to just being a Bears fan week in and week out.
I know.
You get it once a year. I get it every now 18 weeks out of the year, pretty much. So.
But it's such a tease, man. Number 1 seed, first round bye, Lambeau Field. It was cold. They're coming from San Francisco, not used to the cold weather. Still is.
Yeah. And the defense played well. That was the thing.
That probably is the nail in the back. Just the entire defense played its ass off the entire game, and you only mustered to get 10 points. You know, I don't feel too sorry for Green Bay fans because, like I said, pre-production, you guys had two Hall of Fame quarterbacks back-to-back, and they played a really long time. But that's probably one of the worst. Everything's in the moment, but that might be one of Aaron Rodgers' worst loss that he's ever experienced.
Absolutely.
I think it's ironic.
Because you can't even blame the defense, man.
Yeah. Right.
That's always been his blame. The 49ers scored 13 points, man. Aaron Rodgers scored 7 points in the first 5 minutes of the game and had 3 points in the last 55 minutes.
Shot out of a cannon. They shot out like
they looked good. I was like, damn, it could be a blowout. First bad game of the week. I was like, I don't care, but I got my money on the Packers. But my I was so wrong.
Yeah, I don't know. I do think that everything will work itself out with the Green Bay Packers, and they may get over the hump, but that will be contingent on Aaron.
Yeah, they're a joke.
Figuring it out.
Embarrassment.
They got to figure it out.
They're like the Dallas Cowboys now. They're just such a tease every year, man. They're such a tease. They had it. All this momentum, all this talent. We got this Matt LaFleur. We got Aaron Rodgers.
I told you last pod. I don't know. We got to see what he can do because
I saw 10 points on offense.
Yeah.
And Devontae Adams was balling. Aaron Jones was balling. Nobody else got like a single target, I feel like.
And I think that's what it is.
Touchdown.
As much as people, and that's what I think it is for Green Bay, I think, to take the next step because they've kind of had this thing with, and it's funny how we just all jumped into the Green Bay discussion, but, that's what we're talking about, guys and girls who are listening to the first section of this podcast. We're talking about the divisional round. I think for Green Bay to take the next step is they're going to have to get more playmakers at the receiver position that are legit options. You can't have the fall off that they have from Devontae to the next guy, because what happens is if you run into a defense with San Francisco, they could just be middle of the road or good. They're going to be able to take away that number one option. And if you really look around the league, every team for the most part has 2 to 3 guys. Look at everybody's. We all love Cincinnati. We all love what they're doing. He has 3 legit receivers and an elite running back. Joe Burrow, like I say, credit to him. Joe Cool, he does what he does. But he has 3 elite, you could say 2 elite receivers. Because I think T. Higgins is really good. And Jamar's already established himself as number 1. You go down the line, San Francisco. They might be an outlier, but their elite guy not only plays receiver as an elite level, he's an elite level running back. And they have an elite tight end. I think Green Bay has gotten away with the fact because their division has been kind of mediocre, so they coast through their division. And what happens is Devontae's been great. He's an elite number one, but they don't have that second or third star. Now they do have a great back, and I'm not excusing Aaron Rodgers because he gagged it. He didn't do well. We all saw that. But that's the only thing I can really see because unless he comes back, now if he doesn't, if he tends to go to another team, then guess what? You got to build with Jordan Love, and I guarantee you they're going to be getting some receivers in because he's not going to be in a position to be carrying the team like Aaron Rodgers will. But that's just my observation. Aaron Rodgers gagged it. He screwed it up. He didn't do well. We all know that. But for Green Bay to take the next step, well, how about get a number one receiver next year in the draft and stop drafting guys in the third and fourth round? They got lucky with Devontae. He was like a second or third round pick.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, that's
and
not
to be
the
honest,
issue,
he might
man.
be a product of
that is not the issue. The weapons ain't the issue. Aaron Rodgers the issue. You can't go 3 and out, man. Okay, when that special team fiasco happened and they got a punt block for a touchdown, you got the ball back. The game was tied. There was like 4 minutes left in the game. You went 3 and out. 3 and out. And Alan Lazard was wide open, and you're trying to chuck it at Devontae Adams, who was double teamed. Alan Lazard was wide open for a first down. That's Aaron Rodgers not trusting his teammates. He loves Devontae. I love Devontae. But Alan Lazard is a solid wide receiver. He was wide open.
Yeah.
That's
inexcusable. And he would snow and all, we can put that aside, but he would have made that catch. I mean, he was wide open.
He was wide
Absolutely.
Open.
Aaron
no was on him.
I don't think he neglected him. I don't want to say he neglected him, but I just think he was so tunnel vision on getting it to Devontae Adams. It's just like you said. And the other thing, Mason Crosby missed a field goal in that game. He's been kind of going
whatever. Jimmy G threw a pick in the red zone.
That's fine. That's fine. But still, that's 3 points
we got
right
so
there.
many opportunities, man.
I'm still taking. Obviously we can get into the whole coin toss situation, but if it had gone to overtime, I would still take Rodgers in that game. I think he would end up winning it. If not all on Mason. It's mainly on Rodgers. But, man, I think, like you said, Sean, their best teams that they've ever had, they had Greg Jennings, they had Jordy Nelson, who really came on when they won the Super Bowl. Jermichael Finley was a solid tight end back in the day for him. He had options, and now he's only really got 2, and they actually have to start utilizing Aaron Jones in the slot more to really expand those weapons. So, I don't know what they're going to be able to do if they have to start paying.
I just feel like Green Bay has been a franchise that's, like I said, they've been blessed with 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks. So they feel like, well, we're going to be smarter than everyone else. And we're going to draft these playmakers in certain rounds and not really go pay and get the first round talent. Because if you think about it, a lot of free agents don't go to Green Bay. So they have to do a lot through the draft. So that's how they draft. And I'm not trying to excuse Aaron Rodgers at all. But even if I'm just saying you need to get more receivers, they kind of need to go in that direction anyway, because Aaron's not going to play forever. Mm-hmm. And you want to have some stud receivers in the wings growing up with Aaron, and then when he gets ready to leave, have somebody for Jordan Love. Because if Jordan Love was out there, they're probably not even in the playoffs right now.
Yeah.
They're going to go through how Aaron went through. I'm not sure. I think it's maybe his first or second year, where he kind of struggled a little bit. He got injured. They're going to have that growing pain, but he picked it up after that. Jordan Love probably going to need a couple more years, and he's not going to be able to do that with just – I don't even know if Devontae would stay if Aaron ends up leaving, because I think him and Aaron are kind of like – because I don't even know if he got his contract extension yet.
They were going to franchise tag him, if anything.
So if they end up doing that, he might end up leaving after whenever, because I think you only do it twice with the franchise tag, I think. Yeah. So if that's the case, then if Aaron ends up leaving, I don't think Devontae's going to want to stay. So they got to start paying the piper and putting weapons out there, not so much for Aaron Rodgers, but for their next quarterback. Because their next quarterback, if he's the real, you know what I always think of is Dak. Dak wouldn't be half the quarterback if he didn't have those weapons. If he didn't have Zeke, Amari, CD, the Cedric Wilson, they got a lot of guys. Blake Jarwin, those guys at tight end, they got weapons. Dak ain't half of that if he just had CD and that's it out there and a bunch of 2 and a bunch of 3s. Dallas probably wouldn't even be in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. But Aaron Rodgers, if I was him, and this is probably being dramatic, he probably just needs to, hey, Green Bay, did my time here. He needs new scenery, because that type of loss next year. What are we going to be talking about next year?
His training camp situation.
Aaron Rodgers gets his shit together against the 49ers, man. He's been swept by them in the playoffs.
They've been owning them.
He's 0-4 against.
He
the
might
49ers.
own Chicago, but San Fran has a stake in the Packers.
Yeah, and the worst part is this is the man. This is the man. He got passed by in the draft. He's like, man, 49ers, I'm gonna make you regret not drafting me. Man, beat them in the playoffs then.
Yeah.
Beat them in the playoffs. They got Jimmy Garoppolo, a mediocre quarterback who could barely get touched. He got no touchdowns, man. All he does, Elijah Mitchell, Deebo Samuel.
Yeah.
That's why he does, man.
You almost wonder if they would have been better on the road or
Embarrassing.
something. Maybe they're just not good at home. Who knows? Maybe they need diversity to play on the road. It's something because it just does not make sense how you could be that dominant during the regular season, beating pretty good teams.
They were dropping points, man. They're dropping 27, 30 points a game. They were rolling on offense.
Yep.
Especially the way the Packers finished the season. Oh, I had him on fantasy football. He was going off, man. He's dropping 300 plus yards, 3 tutties. Where is that, man? The guy has 0 passing touchdowns.
Yeah.
It's an indictment on Aaron Rodgers. It's an indictment. Like you can't like you say, all the people who were supporters of Aaron Rodgers, you kind of got to eat a little crow now. Because while on one hand he has the Super Bowl, that's been a decade ago.
That was a decade ago, man.
It's not a lot of defending you can do.
Rise and fall, man.
Yeah, it's not a lot of defending. Like you say, he might just be a regular season quarterback. And you can talk about matches all you want to. The defense showed up. So in that instance,
they were phenomenal.
Yeah.
They were phenomenal.
I don't know. We just spent 13 minutes on Aaron Rodgers. That tells you how disappointed we are in Aaron
Rodgers. What a waste.
Yeah. It was the worst game, and that's what we're focused on.
Yeah, we focused on that because it was just so disappointing.
He had the lowest scoring team in the playoff weekend.
All right, well, here, how big goes Do you think that the Titans also need to move on from their quarterback? Because, my God, man, he threw 3 picks in that game against the Bengals, especially when your boy Derrick Henry's off an injury, getting barely 3 yards a carry. You can't place any reliance on your quarterback, and he throws 3 picks, man. Oh.
Is anyone surprised?
Nah.
Ryan Tannehill, man.
He's getting up there. He had 2 good years with them. I think they need to let him walk.
He's a product of Derrick Henry. Let's just call it what it is. If he played with Zeke this year, they're probably not in the playoffs. Derrick Henry carried that team.
I don't know, man.
He
Dante Foreman, man. Dante Foreman, 66 yards on 4 carries.
Yeah.
Pretty good, man. Looked pretty good.
He did have that huge explosive run. I did see that.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
45 yards.
AJ Brown had a monster game.
Yeah,
when he's healthy.
He's
a freak, man.
He's a
I'm pretty sure only 80 of Tannehill's 220 yards was to other receivers. I'm pretty sure AJ Brown had about 140 of his 220.
Yep.
Absolutely ridiculous. Julio did have some good catches too. I thought they were actually targeting him a lot in that game.
Mm-hmm.
Mixon just really once again couldn't get going. Burrow just kind of had a mediocre day, but they just pulled it out. Their defense came up big. I thought that the key to that game was just keeping Derrick Henry from breaking off any sort of even a 15-yard run. Because if you can not even allow him to see that, especially coming off an injury, there's only so much he can do. He's still got 20 carries.
Yeah.
I don't know. That was also kind of a rough game, but I'm glad the Bengals won, man.
Dude, Joe Burrows, man. McPherson. My Lord, man. Drafting this rookie, man. Coming in, hitting clutch field goals. Calling game before even going for it. Man, we go in the AFC title game. You know what that's called? The Sam Cassell celebration, big balls, man. That's what he got. That's what that is, man. This dude's just going around like this and kicking a field goal. I'm just like, oh my Lord, man. He got it done. Joe Burrows with that offensive line issues, just trying to survive. Still throwing over
9 times.
Yeah, dude. I'm just like, dude was dying out there, man. He was dying out there. He still was able to throw over 348 yards. Jamar Chase, what more can we say about Jamar Chase?
Elite.
Too good.
Dude, rookie wide receiver dropping back-to-back 100-yard games in the playoffs.
All pro.
Not the regular season, the playoffs.
Yeah.
My Lord.
All pro is a rookie, man. That's not easy to do.
Man, this dude's ridiculous, man. 6 targets, 5 catches, 109, man. My Lord, what a nuclear weapon that they have over there in Cincy for the next decade. Decade with Joe Burrow.
Chiefs could struggle. Chiefs could struggle trying to stop him.
Man.
Yeah, Jamar, I think I'm to the point now he's just going to get what he gets. Like he's kind of the guy like you you could have a game plan for him, but he's just gonna get open. So I would just hey, Jamar's gonna get his yards, and I would probably be more focused on trying to stop Boyd and Higgins and Mixon because, yeah, man, Chase. And you know what, Chase? He doesn't like Justin Jefferson, for instance. Like when you're watching his highlights, he looks way more explosive. Justin Jefferson, I'm saying, as like a route runner. Jamar to me seems not as explosive and overly fast, but he's just always open and catching and making tough catches.
Yeah,
like you don't look at him. Go ahead.
I think it's just how he steps, man. I think he's so like light on his feet that his cutting is what makes the difference with him. I think like he's not that fast. Like he's fast. Let's be honest, but he's not Henry Ruggs fast. You know, like some of those guys that we've seen throughout the years. But his route running is ridiculous, and it's to what like Devontae tweeted, man. He's like, run real routes in practice because that's what you're going to be running in games. And I feel like a lot of these up and coming wide receivers have been doing that. The JJs. Cooper Kupp, another one, always wide open.
Yeah,
Jamar Chase. Yeah. It's all just they run those routes all the time because they know if I just keep doing this, I'm going to get open on this every time, and you can't do anything about it. So,
and the chemistry with Burrow and Chase is definitely showing. Not even just in the playoffs, but since they've been playing, like they had those couple hiccups in the preseason, but after that, you kind of just can tell they've been playing ball together for a while, and that's smart on management to listen to your franchise quarterback to get the guy that he wants because. It's obvious that when you get the guy for Joe Burrow that he needs, you're going to get results. And Joe Burrow's, like I said, man, he should get, you know, I think the most impressive thing to me in that game was his toughness because he got knocked around a lot. He was getting hit and was getting up and was not really talking junk, but just kind of like showing like, okay, I'm still here. I'm going to be able to drive the ball when I need to. And he did that. So, you know, I don't know what the odds are for the Bengals to make the Super Bowl, but I would throw money on that if I had enough discretionary income. I would throw a little money on that because they're not going to be scared going to KFC.
I think they're plus 750, so they're the least favorite, obviously, of the four teams.
I might throw a little money on that because they showed me a lot with that Tennessee game, and I guess we could shift to. I kind of want to shift to the Rams and Bucks.
Yeah,
Matt Stafford's another guy I got to give applause to. It was very hard on him throughout the season. Didn't think he had the goods to do it, especially in a couple of those games, NFC West games. That's just like I don't know, but he definitely in that last drive stared Tom Brady dead in the eyes and said, "Not today, sir. I'm going to get the team down the field." And it's happened like that throw to Cooper Kupp. The only thing that would have made that better is if maybe there was 14 seconds on the clock and he threw that and that was like a walk-off touchdown. That would the only thing that would have made it better. But the fact that he laid that, and like you say, apparently if you look back at the play, that was supposed to be like a kind of an all-out blitz. There was a couple guys that still blitzed from the secondary and I think linebacker positions. But he laid that thing just perfect to Cooper Kupp. And that right there was a throw that I got to give Stafford his credit, man. Because like I said, I was very hard on him because, you know, you came from a loser franchise. And you just don't think a guy that's been consistently losing all the time is going to be able to show up in big moments like that. And I guess what I learned is sometimes players just need opportunity. Like it's just sometimes it says more about the Detroit franchise that Matt Stafford left them, went to the Rams. Granted, he's got better talent on the outside, but he did have Calvin Johnson, and that
Calvin Johnson.
Yeah, he did have Calvin Johnson, but he came in and is one step away from putting him in the Super Bowl. Now, if I'm Jared Goff, I'm not impressed because I would be like, hey, I made it to the Super Bowl. So, but he looks like the type of quarterback. If they make it to the Super Bowl, I would pick them to win. If I was like, depending on the matchup, because Stafford, if you really go back and look at it, like they was on Tampa Bay's ass. Like that game was not close. And if it wasn't for the Rams imploding, like that game would have been a blowout.
It was their game to lose, and they almost lost it, man. I mean, they have 4 fumbles. Cam Akers fumbled twice. Cooper Kupp actually fumbled. That was ridiculous. And the
Jalen
snap
Ramsey
over
got
the center.
Torched on one play with Mike Evans.
Mike Evans.
Yeah. Mike Evans had a big game.
Mike Evans, man. Shout out to Mike Evans, man.
Yeah.
So productive.
But I thought he was really going to do it there for a second. I was like, not again, man. He came back from 28-3, and it's funny because I think Al Michaels actually made that call live. He goes, hey, man, Tom's been here before. If he does it again, and then boom, quarter later, it was 27-all. And
ridiculous,
this time,
man.
Somebody else left too much time, and it wasn't for Tom Brady. It was for Stafford, and he came through, man. To the guy that he's been working with all year.
Cooper Kupp came through, man. The dude was open all the time, man. My God, that dude's route running is unbelievable. Unbelievable, man. Oh, my goodness. Cooper Kupp, man, 183 yards, man, on 11 targets. Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah,
Jesus.
he's a machine.
Like it is wild how Matthew Stafford in his career, he has played with Cooper Kupp and Calvin Johnson, who both have in the top 5 all-time receiving yards.
Yeah.
That is why it's Matthew Stafford has been the quarterback. I don't know if that's a causation or correlation, but that's interesting. Like Cooper Kupp having his historically great year and Calvin Johnson with his historic years, but that's something to know. And my Lord, Cooper Kupp, man, what a stud.
You could argue Stafford's like the most underrated quarterback in the last 10 years. I think we just never got to see him do anything.
He's not. But the thing is, right now in the playoffs, he hasn't been throwing picks.
Yeah,
that's been the key.
That's been the difference.
Like 2 touchdowns on high volume, like 338 passes, 366 passing yards. Like he's going high volume right now. He's got 0 interceptions, and I think that's the key for him to being successful. Because in the regular season, he was like a little on and off with the picks. Like he would have games where he'd throw multiple picks, and that's just putting the defense in a hole. But right now in the playoffs, taking care of the ball and playing aggressive. And I don't know dinking and dunking. We're going for it. We're going for it, man. When you try to beat Tom Brady, you gotta go for it. So he played aggressive, and they got rewarded. And I got to shout out again, Sean McVay, man. This dude's a hell of a head coach, man. Dude's a hell of a head coach, and they're getting it done, man. And it looks
Younger
like
than Tom.
That's crazy.
And he beat him. He got his revenge, man. He got his revenge on Tom for that Super Bowl.
Yeah, man.
And they almost pulled it off. That was like, but that was more of a product of LA doing it. Like they messed themselves. It wasn't so much the Bucks were good. Like, I still think if they would play that game again, I think the Bucks, or not the Bucks, but the Rams would probably win convincingly. So they screwed themselves over more. And transition to the last game, Josh Allen. The thing about him, I think, is underrated. And I knew this, but just I think on that last drive or last 2 drives, he's an athlete and he can run, can run around. But if you notice how his runs, some quarterbacks run and they'll get to the first down, but they'll put the ball out. And he runs like he wants to run you over. Mm-hmm. And that is I like that characteristic in a quarterback. I like that.
Mm-hmm. He's built different, man. The dude's 6'5", 240.
Yeah.
6'5". Like that's unheard of. And his ability to be that big and that mobile. Like this dude in Iowa, he was called Tortuga. You know what that is? That's Spanish for a turtle because he was so slow. He was so slow back in high school. Dude, the NFL, man, he's like freaking beast, 6'5". Like the bigger this dude is, the faster he is right now because this guy legit is like a linebacker running people over when he runs the football. Because like I said, Josh Allen is the best running back on the team. And this dude is legit a dual threat. And some of those touchdowns, shout out to Gabriel Davis.
Oh,
went off.
Look at a monster.
What is this dude?
Beast.
Dude was always open.
Stephon was drawing the coverage, and he was taking advantage.
10 targets, 8 receptions, 201 yards. My Lord, man. That
4
is unbelievable.
touchdowns.
That is unbelievable. So
I thought the difference maker, though, was Mahomes actually matched Josh Allen in rushing in this game. And that set up the Chiefs
sneaky
so many times. It bailed the Chiefs out of, maybe some 3rd and 8s, 3rd and 7s. Mahomes would just get it. He had that one really long, I think it was like a 40-yard run. Absolutely ridiculous. In such a close game where it was going back and forth there at the end. That 70-ish yards that he put on the ground, especially when Edwards-Helaire still, had some nice runs, but really, still coming off an injury. Darrell Williams wasn't playing. McKinnon did have some big plays too. But that Mahomes running game definitely saved the Chiefs in a couple instances. But
there was a bet. That was that I saw. I didn't do it, but there was a bet saying over under Mahomes rush yards 20. And I feel like that was relatively low because I feel like in the playoffs, just his recent history in playoffs, he always has those 15, 20-yard scampers, 1 or 2 a game. He always ends up doing that. Yeah, he always usually does that. So I was like, that could have been free money for somebody. But
what a ridiculous game!
Virtuoso, man.
I'm gonna keep beating this drum, dude. Kelce's going up there in the tight end rankings. One of my homeboys hit me up, and he was just like, whoa, hold on, Gronk. I get it. Gronk's a way more complete tight end. But Kelce, just go look at his receiving yards alone. They're like wide receiver numbers.
Automatic 1,000 yards every year.
Every year.
He's always open. He's the one that's always open. He's another one of those guys.
And if you really look at all their close games, go look at who he always looks to. It's always Kelce.
Yeah, security
He
blanket.
always looks to Kelce.
Yep.
I mean, Tyreek and those guys get open and they're big play guys, but he's always looking for Kelce. And if Kelce's not there, he's usually either chucking away or scampering for another 10 yards.
And shout outs to Travis Kelce, who got that touchdown.
Mhm.
And I hit my parlay, baby. Travis Kelce tutty, baby, on the last play of the game.
That's wild. Dang.
Yeah, I had every single one. I had Bengals plus 4.5. I had Niners plus 5.5. I had over in the Rams Bucks game, and I had Bills money line. And when they scored with 13 seconds left,
Bills money line.
I was like, bring it on. But then I saw those 3 timeouts down there, and I was like, this ain't gonna be good.
A lot of people say where they lost it is them kicking it out of the end zone. They should have squibbed it. And
Yeah,
I
they
agree.
should've.
They should have
I agree.
squibbed it.
I agree, man. They
That
had
it
the
at
biggest
least
setup,
take
man.
5 seconds off the clock. That
Yeah,
takes one of those plays away. They would have had to Hail Mary it.
You know what I think that is a product of, though? I think it's because that was such a huge moment, and it was just so overwhelming of like, oh my God, like we're gonna do this, we're gonna win this game. That you're
13
just like,
seconds.
you're probably just like, kick it off, who cares?
Yeah.
You're not thinking strategically, which you should be, because there's got to be somebody probably on the staff that's like, no, hey, we should be squibbing this, and I don't know, maybe they did or not, but that's what cost them the game, because Mahomes, that's 13 seconds too many, 13 seconds too long.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
And
that
their
pass,
brought him back.
Man, that pass to Tyreek, man. Well, you got Tyreek Hill, man.
He shot out of a
My
cannon, bro.
lord.
Like,
My lord. This
great.
dude, like, obviously Patrick Mahomes, special player. But having Tyreek Hill, that elevates you. That elevates you. Get a little that, but then boom, that yards after catch, man. My lord. Tyreek Hill is special.
Well, you know what he does? He takes that little hop step back every single time he catches the ball, almost to just assess who's around him. And if he sees that he's got any space, he just shoots that gut, man. And it's just absolutely ridiculous to watch him play. He does a little jump step.
He got way more explosive in the NFL, of course. But when he was at Oklahoma State, I think it was the year Florida State had won, and they were playing at Jerry World for against Oklahoma State, and he single-handedly almost won that game. And I was like, who the heck is Tyreek? Like, who is it? Like, he was doing kickoff return, punt return, like freaking running back. Like, he was doing every position that was like a playmaking position. I was like, this guy's going to be like a steal in the draft. Now, he had a lot of off the field issues, so that's why people were like kind of wary of him. But man, dude, like when he touches the ball, he is truly legit. Anywhere on the field, they could be at the 1. If you can just throw him a screen pass on the goal line, and you're fearful he could take it 99.
Yep,
that's how explosive he is. So it's like you say, your point, Zoo.
Because the dude's speed is on another level, man. This dude runs by someone and waves like, bye-bye. He's not even in the end zone yet.
He's 15 yards out.
Yeah, I'm just like, bro, what are you doing?
He's
celebrating before that, man.
Yeah. So really quick, we're going to get into, like, I guess you could say the conference championship games. To me, the most interesting matchup is the Bengals and the Chiefs, just solely off of they played not too long ago in the regular season, and the Bengals got the better of them on that. So I want to see kind of how Kansas City comes into that game. Like, we're trying to get you guys. The Rams and 49ers, that is the hardest one for me to pick because I can make a compelling case for both teams. Like 49ers, momentum based. I don't know if the Rams have anybody. I mean, Jalen Ramsey's an elite corner, but sticking on Debo because he lines up everywhere. You can't just Jalen Ramsey can't go travel with him in the back, in the backfield. So that's a game I could honestly see as a pickup. You can pick either team. I'm trending towards Kansas City because at some point, youth has got to matter with the Bengals. Like, you can't just be free.
The Atlanta Hawks
to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's
my things about Cinderella stories, man.
The Atlanta Hawks, right, Zoo?
Yeah, exactly. Ain't gonna end pretty, man. Cool story.
Yeah.
Now the real dogs. You're playing the Kansas City Chiefs. You're not playing against Ryan Tannehill anymore.
Yeah.
Ryan Tannehill. You're playing against Patrick Mahomes with those weapons. They going back to the Super Bowl, man.
It could be a shootout. Because
Burrow
had to have a virtue.
Burrow will be throwing it, and I feel like they might be going on 4th down too. They're going to be ultra aggressive like the Buffalo Bills, but
and remember, the Niners also beat the Rams both times this year. They won in overtime in the second game, and they blew them out the first time they met up.
I did not. Totally forgot about that.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not like they, and that was with Kittle out. I think he might have missed the first game when they actually blew him out. He might have been back because I think that overtime game was week 17 or 18. But look, Sean, I'm with you, man. Whatever, the Rams probably are going to be about -3 just because of the home field advantage, even though they're, San Fran's going to travel. Let's be honest. Yes. It's only about a 40-minute flight.
Game, they're traveling, yeah.
LA's not a very home field advantage type town, similar to a Miami, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But I'm going with the Chiefs, and I'm going to go with the Rams. I do think those, Zoo got to do the Zoo tactic, pick the favorites, but I would prefer. Yeah, true. Not last week. True. Besides the Chiefs. But I would actually prefer to see like a Rams-Bengals game. I think that would be interesting. Just kind of a very veteran defensive team versus a very young offensive team. I think that's a good storyline. Because we all wanted Chiefs-Packers, man, but your boy choked.
Yes, Aaron, man. Screwed that all up. I'm never going to get that matchup is over. Well, unless Aaron goes to a new team next year and he erases.
Man, Aaron Rodgers, man. I don't know. I just feel a lack of anger, competitive spirit. He doesn't got that Tom Brady. I'm pissed off at losing, man. He doesn't got that. I just feel like he's like, man, I'm Aaron Rodgers. I got my chill life, man. Life is good. I'm like, fuck your life, man. I want pissed off Aaron.
I think him winning so early screwed that up.
Spoiled him.
True.
If he would have won in 2016, I think he would have maybe ran off more championships and been more hungry.
Then again,
I think him winning so early, you have that kind of
Brady won young.
In the bag. Yeah, but I think Aaron had more to do with his winning early than Brady did. Brady was carried by his defense. Plus, it matters where you're drafted. I know Aaron's pissed off that he got drafted late in the first round, but Brady was like a 6th-round pick. He's always got that looking up the hill type mentality. He never. That's what made him as good as he is now. Because he, in his eyes, felt like he should have been an early round draft pick, but he didn't get drafted to the sixth round. So he's going to always have that underdog mentality. Yeah, I think for me, though, Chiefs and Rams is what I would most likely want to see and what I would pick. I kind of forgot that the 49ers won twice. So that means I automatically have to pick the Rams because it's hard to beat a team 3 times.
Yep.
I just thought of it. Is this going to be a rematch? Chiefs, 49ers?
I was thinking about that. That's the one I'm trying to avoid.
I'm just like, dang, a freaking rematch, freaking defense versus offense again.
Yeah.
Same quarterback
being even more, and Debo being way more involved than maybe it would have been. This, what's going to be crazy though? Say that does happen. What do you do at San Francisco if Jimmy G wins the Super Bowl? Because it's obvious that he's not the quarterback for them. They're winning in spite of him.
If they win a Super Bowl,
it's not going to be because of him.
Trey Lance, sit on the bench, man. We're gonna ride with the guy, even though he's just riding the bandwagon, man. The defense, the running game. If you win a Super Bowl, you got to reward that, man. You got to pay the man and let him keep his job because he didn't have to do more, man.
You think it would become like how Foles and Carson Wentz?
Yes.
Yeah.
Philadelphia, you're done for the next. I give you a break for the next 20 years, man. You got a championship, man.
Yeah.
You're off the hook for the next 2 decades. You won a championship.
Think about the Philadelphia Eagles got a championship before the Cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
With all the talent the Cowboys have. That is,
and the Giants got 2.
Talk about America's team, man. That's just so embarrassing. That's probably the most embarrassing story in the NFL. The Philadelphia Eagles and the Giants have been more relevant in the division than the Cowboys were, but they still get all the pub. I see why people hate Cowboys fans because it's like you would think the Cowboys if you just came from outer space and landed and watched sports news for a week, you would think the Cowboys have won the last 12 Super Bowls. You would think that. You'd be like, God, this team they keep talking about every day, they've won every Super Bowl. Like, no, actually, it's been since the 90s that they won one?
Yeah, it's just a very 90s thing for America to say, man. That's all I'll say. It very fits the 90s, man.
Yeah.
That's about 30 years ago now, so we can put that behind us.
Yeah, that's a fact. But we're going to see. It's going to be. I think these games will not be as good as the divisional round games, but I think they'll still be, somewhere up there in terms of being a regular playoff game and exciting for the 4 fan bases that are looking to go to the Super Bowl. So we're going to be keeping our eyes on that. This last topic we're going to get into real quick. NBA is pretty much past the halfway point. NBA All-Stars coming up soon. So we thought to, give you guys, because a lot of people are doing the fan voting and all that type of stuff for the NBA All-Star starters. So kind of want to get the guys' thoughts on who they would have personally in their I guess, starting five for the East and West. And P. Bush, I'm gonna start with you.
All right, man. I guess I'll start with the West. Man, it's actually kind of hard. I was just looking at like the fan voting, and I was like, okay, front court, you got LeBron and Jokic. I think those two guys are a lock in the front court.
Mm-hmm.
Got to have LeBron, even though the Lakers are, very up and down this year.
Struggling is not even a word.
Bad, man.
Struggling,
They're
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 bad.
a bad team.
But it's LeBron, man. He's always going to be there. He's Adam Silver's boy. But then Wiggins and PG follow, and Wiggins is having a decent year, but I don't think he's at an all-star level. PG, once again, just a big name to throw out there. I'm putting
And he's
Cat,
injured.
and he's injured. Exactly. I'm actually putting Cat in there.
Same.
As my third front court. I know, Zoo, you're not going to like this, Sean. I was thinking about Rudy. He's a
watch Rudy go play an all-star game.
No, listen. 16 and 15 and 2 blocks, and look how the Jazz are doing when he's out.
There you go.
All right? Boom.
go.
That's the end of the argument.
He get his fat
I
ass
put
on
Rudy
the
in there
bench,
because of that.
He get his ass on the bench, man. I don't want a Rudy in the starting lineup.
I agree, and that's why I'm saying he needs to still make it.
He'll
But
play
I
like
like
4
Cat.
minutes.
He's more exciting to watch. But in the guard backcourt, I think the two are the lock. Got to go Steph Curry, Ja. That's my backcourt.
Yeah, I have
so
the
you got
exact
same on the West.
Exact same. Yeah, it is wild because usually you got more luck because Karl Anthony Towns making it. That's just obviously an outlier here because there's all these injuries to like Paul George, Kawhi Leonard. Usually those are the guys that make it.
Stars, yeah.
But this year, there's some open spots right now just because of injuries.
Yeah,
and a lot
in the West.
A lot of dudes can make it first time opportunities, and a lot of everyone's smushed in. There's not you got Phoenix and Golden State out there. Even Memphis, I guess, is up there now too. But a lot of the teams in the West, they got similar records. So I feel like there's going to be a lot of newbies coming in. But yeah, I got the exact same list as you, man.
Similar?
My thing, no, I had the same with Ja. I had Ja and Steph in the front or backcourt. I had LeBron and Jokic in the front court. And I was deciding between Towns and Gobert. And I'm not a big fan of Gobert either, but he affects their winning so much that you got to keep him in there because he's still really good defensively. And if Karl Anthony Towns had them at Minnesota maybe in a 6th position or 7th position, I would.
You know who his kryptonite is? Nicholas Batum. That's all I gotta say.
Wait,
Nicholas Batum.
Yeah, he shut him down.
Dude, when Ty Lue put Nicholas Batum in the lineup as a stretch
because he's small, Zoo.
Yeah,
my Lord, Rudy Gobert, man, a deer in headlights, man.
He'll play 3 minutes in an All-Star game. He's not going to be out there.
Yeah,
long.
he just
deserves to be. And the Jazz, listen, I'll put it this way: take. Okay, so I don't know. Think of any center. Now you can't say Karl Anthony Towns because if the Jazz had Karl Anthony Towns, then I would be looking at the Jazz. It's they're a contender in the West. But say you take Gobert out, the Jazz ain't doing nothing. Because I love Donovan Mitchell, but he's still at the end of the day a 6'3" guard, and he'll just be gunning shots. And I don't know who they would have to be defensively, not as an offensive threat. Defensively, the Jazz would fall completely off because there's nobody on that starting five that you could trust. That's why I'm putting Gobert there just because of their success. If the Jazz were 6th or 7th, I'd probably put Karl Anthony Towns there. But they win with Gobert in the lineup, so I kind of got to put him there. Even though I'm not a huge Gobert fan at all.
I mean, it's a tough call. It's going to be a close All-Star, but I think there's at least.
Or you
4
could
locks.
maybe Draymond. You could throw if you don't want to put
he's
Draymond
up there.
in there.
Man,
You can put Draymond in there. Their team's winning, and he's
Hall of
having a
Famer,
bounce
bro.
back year. He is. He's making the basketball Hall of Fame. That's for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
First off, this is not just a quick aside. It is a.
I'm not putting. I can't put a guy averaging less than 8 points in an All-Star game. It goes against my rules, man.
That's fair.
Draymond's really good. He's really good at what he does.
He's good at what he does. But you know what he is? A superstar role player. That's what he is. He's a superstar role player, man.
He's a leader role player.
He does his role, has high impact. I ain't put him in my All-Star games.
Not starting.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't put him
on the bench either.
Oh, okay. Now you wilding. I'd put him in.
Iguodala and Luol Deng can make it just by averaging 18. He can do it by averaging 8, 8, and 8.
Yeah. He can get
whatever
it
he's
on
averaging
the team.
this year.
You know what that is? Triple single.
Yeah?
Nah. I ain't
still better than Russ.
All right, so y'all got for East.
East is a lot
really
easier. East is easy, man. Front court, Giannis, KD, Joel Embiid. Lock.
But
But
KD, if KD
KD's
doesn't
not
play,
going to play.
I put KD down, but I don't know if he's going to play. So I
Yeah,
don't know who
same.
to put there.
I put Jason Tatum. That was my guy.
I'm not mad at that.
There's really nobody
Especially
else
at the
that
forward
stuck out.
position, yeah.
Especially
at the
in the
forward
front
position.
court.
Jimmy
Once
Butler,
you-
maybe, but I don't know what.
That was the other one I considered.
But is he a guard or a forward? I don't
He
know.
technically plays small forward.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jason Tatum, man, that's something like,
No, he's
I
been
agree.
balling.
He dropped the 50 piece.
Exactly.
Yeah, he can be in there.
Passes your standard too?
Yeah, of course, man. At the guard
All right.
position,
What do you got? Don't
those
you dare say
Bulls
it.
boys, baby. DeMar and Zach, baby. DeMar
Really?
DeRozan and Zach LaVine.
Stop, dude. That's biased. Come on now.
Bias?
I would,
You don't think
yes.
DeMar DeRozan deserves to start?
DeMar definitely,
does.
but not Zach. No.
I
Not Zach?
put Trae Young over Zach.
What?
Yeah.
Trey, yeah.
You know what
Trey.
he is? Do you know what Trae Young's doing right now?
28
Not
and 9.
even in the play-in
He's
tournament, man.
destroying,
He's
dog.
not in the play-in tournament.
Dude, just look at their numbers, man. I mean,
Trey's
Trae Young's
numbers
putting up
is
No, I have
28
a
and
rule.
9.
Easy.
I have a rule.
He's always putting up 30 and 10. That's crazy.
Then you can't
30
put
and 10,
Cadden
and
over
he's not
Gobert.
He's not
Yeah,
in the
exactly.
play-in tournament, man.
Then you can't put Cadden over Gobert.
Get him, P. Bush.
No, Minnesota is in the play-in tournament.
Oh,
They're
come
the
on.
seventh seed. They're in the seventh
The
seed.
Hawks are
bro.
like 12. The Hawks
Bullshit,
are
man.
like
Come
12.
on.
Dude, they're 12. Dude, they're only in front of teams that are tanking. Orlando, who's openly tanking. Detroit, who are tanking. And the Indiana Pacers, who the GM said, we're selling our entire roster. They're only better than 3 teams in the East, and
The
all of
T-Wolves
them
are
are
500.
trying to lose games. They're actively trying to lose games. So
I
out
don't
of
know,
the
man.
out of the teams in the East that are trying to win, they're dead last.
Unfortunately,
I
though,
think I just
Zoo,
won.
it's going to be Trae Young over Zach.
Yeah. It's not.
He's
Trey-
leading him
Trey's
in
just-
votes. That's just a fact.
Yeah.
It's going to be
Well,
him.
hopefully the coaches take a look at their record and be like, God damn.
Don't worry. He'll still
They're
make
not,
it.
they're not in the play-in tournament. Play-in. I'm not talking about the playoffs. I'm talking about play-in.
They will get there, Zoo.
Yeah,
Don't worry
they
about it.
will.
Well, we're talking right now. We're looking.
Where were
right
they
now.
last year at this time?
Well, they fired their
worse.
coach and got Nate McMillan. They ain't
saying.
firing no coach right now, man.
They could make a trade deadline move. We don't know that.
Zach will make the All-Star team, but he's
Yeah,
not
for
a
sure.
starter.
Plus,
He's not a
yeah,
starter. Yeah, I might have
There's
yeah,
some time
definitely
to-
too.
yeah.
You're
I don't
putting an
know.
all-star starter that's not in the play-in tournament.
Yeah, because he's basically averaging 30 and 10.
Yeah,
I'm gonna do that. Sorry.
absolutely.
30 and 10 is hard to do.
Over
And
24
plus, too,
and
he's
5.
like 6 foot, 130 pounds doing it.
What's that
Like,
have to do with anything?
He's super
Zach-
small.
I don't care if he's 4'2", man. I don't care how impressive he is, how skilled he is. I'm looking at. He's
24
not
and
in the
5.
play-in tournament.
That's it. That's a team game, though. This is
Yeah.
It's a
All-Stars
team
individual.
game, but do you know it's a team game? But there's only 5 dudes on the court.
What
Yeah.
was Zach Levine's stats last year? I'm pretty sure you was trying to see if Zach Levine
27,
would've
5, and 5.
and you would have and he was he an all-star
regressed.
last year?
Yes, he was an all-star on the bench. He
Yeah, he
deserved
was
to
on
be
the
on the bench because his team was Garbo. And right now, the Atlanta Hawks, as I predicted, they
I
are
think the
garbage.
Bulls were worse than the Hawks were right now.
No, they're at the same exact spot, man. Outside of the play-in
Yeah.
tournament.
If we're really being frank, the play-in doesn't really mean you're in there. You have to play your way into the playoffs. It's not like you're in the playoffs.
Whoa, exactly.
It'd be
They're
different
not
if they
they're
were
not
like a
even the
6 seed
playoffs.
or
They're not in the
like-
playoffs or the play-in. Do you know what they are? The garbage shoot, man. Chilling with the Orlando Magic, Detroit
30 and
Pistons,
10
man.
is impressive.
Trey Young's also great to watch in the All-Star game. They both are. Obviously, so is Zach.
Yeah, he's great.
They're
to
both
watch.
going to make it, but I
He's
still
great
think
to watch,
Trey
but
Young's,
he's
they
great-
need a ball handler.
He's great
That's
to
all.
watch, and he'll be chilling on the bench.
And you was talking about the coaches, Zoo. I'm pretty sure that when the coaches are voting on these players, they game plan way more for Trey than Zach.
Absolutely.
Way more. They're probably game planning more for DeMar on really
Oh, yeah.
the whole team because it's more of a team effort, I feel like, with the Bulls. But like if you stop Trey with Atlanta, like John Collins, like DeAndre Hunter, no. Kevin Herter,
Kevin
no.
Huerter, let's go,
No.
baby.
And he's averaging 10 assists with guys like
Man, explain the record. He played all those games.
Defense.
defense is awful.
Yeah, you know
and
why?
they traded
Trey
away.
Young sucks at defense.
All
He's
right,
part of
dude.
the
But
problem.
nobody
man.
Not
cares
see it.
about defense in freaking All-Star games. Like
Yeah, exactly.
nobody.
No, I'm talking about starting. I'm talking about starting
160.
on an Eastern Conference team. Playing turn.
Look, dude, I want
What
to
is-
see them both start, but I just don't. It's not going to happen.
That's how I feel. Like, no, I don't, because I think Trey's.
Trey Young didn't make the All-Star team last year,
I take
man.
that back.
Trey Young
I
didn't
think
make
he's
the
just a better
All-Star
player
team
than
last
Zach.
year.
Wait, so what is the votes? Is fans, coaches, and what else? Media?
Media.
Media.
Yeah.
They need to
got
weight the fans
Trey's got
down
the
this
coaches,
way,
and
man.
the fans actually do have too much of a say, I feel like.
Yep.
Because what is it? Andrew Wickens has had a good year, but wasn't he like really high in the All-Star voting?
Third in front court.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, that Golden
That's
State
insane.
media team, man, they're doing some work because Andrew
Bay
Wiggins
Area.
ain't no All-Star. He
Yeah,
ain't
man.
no
They're just
All-Star.
asking the
Nah,
tech
he's not.
companies to just
Yeah.
Vote.
that's what
Yeah,
they're doing.
he ain't no All-Star, man. My
Mm.
lord.
That might
That's
be
the worst
actually
one
might
up
be
there.
something to that.
He's
There
the
might be
worst
something
one
to
up
that.
there, by the way. Like, if you're looking at actual rankings, I think of like, I mean, he's not like a bad player, of course, but like
No.
he's way too
But
high for
do you
his.
remember the
his
worst
level.
though? The worst fan vote ever? When Zaza Pachulia almost made the All-Star team. As a
Dude,
starting
didn't
center.
Yao Ming almost made it like 3 years after he retired or something like that? It was still like discussing retirement, and he almost made it, man.
Yeah, the
Man.
fan voting, that kind of needs to
They
be.
need to adjust it.
There needs to be more with coaches and what is it, media. They need to have a little bit more say because the fan voting can get really out of whack. And like you say, this will fluctuate because with injuries and all that type of stuff, like there's going to be players that make it for the first time and they're going to be substituted in. Like I said, I didn't even think about Tatum just because Boston's hadn't been that. I really haven't watched a lot of Boston this year. Actually, their team's
rough to
all you
watch.
got to know is that they're great at blowing games, man.
They're
great
bad at
doing
that.
man. They're great.
Reminds
I
me
keep
of another
telling people
team.
they got to break that up. It's not going to work. I just
know where
don't
he's
see
going?
a pathway.
That's who the Atlanta Hawks are going to trade for.
The Tatum
They're going to try and pull off a trade for one of the two. They need to, man, if they want to turn
probably
something
trade
around.
for Brown. Not
My
Tatum.
God.
Tatum. They're not going to let go of Tatum.
Celtics ain't that dumb, man.
Yeah, they should.
Jaylen Brown for John Collins.
Well, they got to figure something out because once they get halfway through those contracts and they start getting leverage to go and leave, Boston better do something, get something for them.
Yep.
Until Boston can get I don't know how they can do it, but either through draft or free agency, they got to find a point guard. If they can't find a point guard, those two are never going to be maximized. So maybe Jaylen Brown is from Atlanta, Metro Atlanta, maybe. Actually, isn't a bad. I don't know what they would actually give Boston back, but Collins, Herter, couple picks,
Especially if they're going to finish bottom this year. Those picks could be worth something.
and you could just groom maybe around Collins and find some picks.
Yeah.
But I don't know. They either need to get a point guard or just break them up.
Do you know who the Atlanta Hawks need, man?
Guy.
The Atlanta Hawks need Ben Simmons.
But that ain't gonna happen because then I don't know what. Did you just see the report today? James Harden testing free agency. That's Daryl Morey. Daryl Morey's been leaving him 20 voicemails a day. That's why
Smart.
he gets what he wants, man.
Harden and Joel Embiid, man. Oh my lord.
I don't like. Listen, he begged and pleaded to get to Brooklyn when he was in Houston, and all of a sudden, I don't like living in Brooklyn. Come on, dog. We all know what the signs are. He's testing free agency right now, and he's gonna be able to pick where he wants to go, which will more than likely be the 76ers. 'Cause that's where he got to Game 7 with Daryl Morey. I think he trusts him, and he probably likes Doc. So I don't know, but I will be interested to see the Ben Simmons saga come to a head soon because it's getting kind of tiresome. Yeah, it's getting tiresome. I want to see him.
Man.
He's a good player. He's not great. I want to see him on the court doing what he does. Whether that's with the 76ers or with another franchise. I just don't know who that would be. But like I say, the starters, that will fluctuate. We'll see how it ends up unfolding. NBA, like I said, there's going to be a huge topic on this podcast coming soon because, with the championships coming up this weekend and then the Super Bowl, that's going to be it for football, and then, we'll have the little necessary break and then we'll start talking a little bit about draft and stuff like that. But the NBA is going to start picking up, so you guys need to tune in for that. All the latest and greatest content on bullheaded_pod on our Twitter, Facebook, doing a couple of things with TikTok, but mainly Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. So make sure you guys follow that. Follow the podcast, Anchor, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Apple, all those major platforms. And for me, Zoo, P. Bush, we're out.